Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Altcoin Buzz Trading. I'm Randy. Today we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, BNB, and Kaspa. And stay tuned for your TA tip of the day. All right, guys. So what happened yesterday? Well, we were looking at some shorts, and well, the SEC decided to get their head stomped inside of a lawsuit. So it made Bitcoin pop about 8%. And this is a good lesson on why you should have stop losses. You never quite know what's gonna take you out of the market, and so stop losses can really save you. And on a couple of our trades we've been discussing, that would have saved you. And the fact that we had pretty low risk trades, I think, is a really good thing, because if you did partake in some of those, your risk was nominally low. And so that's how trading goes sometimes. But right now, the question to ask is this a sustainable rally in Bitcoin? Where can the price go from here? Well, I don't think we're going to be going very far if we stay on this daily time frame for BTC. If you notice, where we rallied to is just kind of this no man's land up here. There's really nothing up here to hold us up, to anchor us. We're essentially free floating at the moment. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't go up a little bit more. There's a good possibility that we actually rise up some and maybe come and hit some of this resistance over here. Now that we've broken down from this upward sloping trend line, we had this horizontal go across here. This is a level of resistance. If the price rallies into there, then typically what happens is the people that have bags up here want to sell those, and they end up selling them, and the price rolls over. And the fact that we didn't clear straight through that and have a much larger reaction, if our reaction was like 15%, even as little as 12%, we'd be in a much different situation. We'd be in a much more bullish situation. But the fact that we really didn't even rally much, given the price history of BTC on the daily time frame here, really it's hard to see how we're going to rally substantially. Another negative to the rally is the fact that the volume here, let's draw a line where the volume came in, it's not really big historically. It's kind of a much ado about nothing type of a day. It was a nice pop, but is it enough to sustain a larger rally? We'll have to wait and see, because the bias right now is still to the downside in cryptocurrency generally, and especially in BTC. So one pump like this, all this does is wear off some of those really super low RSI levels for us, and I think that may be the thing that can load up the next batch of shorts, and that's something to look out for, is some potential shorting opportunities. So we can look at those. Let's go to my 2-hour time frame. And a couple of things here. If we do try to rally, first off, if you want to partake in this rally, we've already gone through some strategies. You're looking for a little bit more sideways consolidation here if you want to partake in this long. While I don't have, this is not a good entry point. This is an example, okay? You're going to have to find some kind of a high that's broken, that probably hasn't been printed yet. But let's say that it was printed yet, and you want to put your stop under recent lows. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here. So here's your recent lows. We're going to put our stop underneath of that. So let's just, for argument's sake, in this example, 1.3% risk, and your reward, let's say we want to go all the way up here to the target. That's a 3.38% risk reward trade. That's something that is potentially actionable, but I don't believe we have the entry on the chart yet. What's going to have to happen for that to become actionable is we're going to have to fill out this cup. It's probably going to have to, become an actual cup, because right now it's not. Right now it's just nothing. It's really nothing. It could be a cup. It could also start eroding. We did something similar here. We popped up, started forming something, and just rolled right over. So we don't want to be caught in a situation taking trades in kind of a nothing situation. That's not what we want to do. We want to take trades that are advantageous. So you want to wait for some momentum to be coming into the upside. My best case scenario here is that the volume continues to decline. We get a little low and slow, then we start to move up. When you get those volume candles starting to come in as the price moves up, that's when things get interesting. Not right now in this kind of weird low. Now, let's say this is the low. You may say, well, Randy, I want to get in now. This is the low. Well, how do you know? How do you know it's the low? Nobody knows if this is the low. The people that are buying right now are either foolish or they have plans to do so. And we don't have any plans down here, so we're not going to be doing anything. On the upswing, though, you could buy here, and if you get lucky, if we rally through this level, which we're looking at a short right now, if we rally through that level, the short trade is off. okay? And you just have a decent position. That's pretty much all there is to say about that. But if we go up here and we stall, that's where we start looking at shorts. So let's say this cup situation resolves itself, and then we start moving up. And so here's your traditional breakout is across the top of the cup. And then you get in here because you're paying attention and you're good. You get in right here. It comes up. You start to see some stalling behavior up here. High volume candles, something that kind of looks like this, right? And don't really see anything over here, but this could be a stalling candle right here also. So that right there, a little bit higher volume, wick to the top side, closes underneath the 50% level. Volume aggregation tool goes up. Things like that could be potential topping signals for you. So once you get up there, then you start to place your short trade with your stop wherever that wick is, okay? Wherever that wick is. And if we go over here to where we broke down, this will come into play. You're going to have some resistance points. You're going to have one here at the 29,675 level. That's going to be a potential stopping point, okay? Because keep in mind, if you're shorting this, in my opinion, let's go back to the daily, you think we're going to have a bigger breakdown. And this I think could be the trade. The trade you're looking at is something like this. Let's say that's your entry will hopefully be a little bit higher than that. Let's say your entry is like this. Your stop is 3%. You're assuming this is going to go lower. Now, there's no great place to put a target for a trade like this. This could be what's called a swing trade, which is where you just kind of let it go with the market. There's some swing traders that have targets. I don't think this one has a target. If this is our last retracement to this level and we're not going to return, I say you hold that as far down as we can go. So, all we do as technical analysts is we look at the possibilities in the charts, we ascertain what could be, and then we try to take an appropriate action. And in this environment, I think the appropriate action could be, yes, if you want to take the long, that's fine, but let's plan on this short working out because this isn't a super bullish thing. Now, if we follow through to the upside with more volume, then we're going to be talking about getting bullish, but that's not what we're doing right now. So we're looking at possibilities. Now, since we're looking at possibilities, I do want to say this isn't the only trade you can plan. You can plan many different trades under different scenarios. Does that make sense? So we have a long plan, we have a long trading plan, and a bigger term short trading plan, and we've already gone through scenarios if those work out. And I think that is the main thing. What works out in the charts? Because all the charts do is tell a story about buying and selling pressure in the market. So if you're listening to that, you can kind of predict the next chapter, at least a little bit. All right, so that's all we're going to cover on Bitcoin. Let's talk about BNB. So that pop in the markets made BNB almost hit our measured move. This is actually a different chart than I drew this on, so bear with me a second. It's not. Why is this completely different? Okay, it's not. I just don't know what I'm looking at. Sorry. All right, so here we go. So now I know what I'm looking at. I just drew a blank for a second. All right, inverted head and shoulders. This is what we talked about. We talked about this large decline here, right, in the big macro picture. And then this is another one of those kind of take what the market gives you trades. We had an inverted head and shoulders for a long, coming into a short potential off of this much larger pattern. So there's your bear flag. There's your breakdown. Now we're getting a retracement, but that was a pretty decent retracement. And yesterday's news kind of facilitated this trade, but it was kind of foretold in the charts, even though we were a little bit iffy on it, like, hey, is BNB going to do this? I don't know. But sometimes things just work out. So this trade was as follows, if you don't recall. We basically had a horizontal across here, and we had a measured move based off of this. We'll retrace this. Redraw this, I should say, if I can pick up the candle. All right, I'll get rid of the secondary indicators for a moment. And if you recall what I was saying last week is that when you take a measured move like this, 75% of this measured move I consider a win. This isn't a failed trade because it didn't hit the top. It actually hit the 75% mark. You can eyeball it. There's 50%, so half of that would be 75%. but we only spent a very short amount of time up in that area. So this would have been hard to take profits. But if you did get in the entry, that would have been a good profitable trade. And just like we talked about with Bitcoin, you could have turned this into a shortable situation. I don't recall if we talked about that yesterday, but just like we said earlier, if this is one of those duality trades, you got a long signal, you can take it, but the bigger picture is short. And I think that's the key for today is overall the bigger picture is short. It's still short even after that rally as my head continually gets cut off. I need to lower my chair. Hold on. Let's lower my chair. Just a little bit. Maybe that'll stop from giving me a lobotomy on YouTube. So anyway, now could this cut back out and then continue going higher? Yeah, it's a possibility. See, now I look really short. I'll have to adjust this after the video, but hey, I got to have fun while I'm doing these, right? I got to have fun even with the failures. So you could have a potential cup and a follow through, but right now we're sticking with the trading plan because a what if doesn't pay the bills. The trade itself, this trade worked. If you had a really regimented, way to place orders, you may have gotten that filled. If you were on the ball, you may have gotten that filled. Otherwise, what do you do right now? Do you take profit here? Yeah, it's possible. It's not very big, but it's something. You could also wait to see if we get a retracement and another failure up here. That's always a possibility. All right, so that's BNB. Next up is Kaspa. And Kaspa here, this is a coin I've been following on my other channel for a long time. And really do like Kaspa for a number of reasons. But its chart flagged a head and shoulders pattern. We have a neckline as such. Now, a neckline on a head and shoulders pattern. So let me take one more step back. A head and shoulders pattern is a topping pattern. You have a shoulder, a higher high, which is your head, and then a lower high, which is your shoulder, at approximately the same level of the left shoulder is the right shoulder. Now, the lows in between the shoulders and each head, so this shoulder and this head, there's the low, and the head and this shoulder, there's the low. That's what's called your neckline. That's the point where you break. And you take a measured move from the top to the neckline here, and you move it down to the break of the neckline, and that's your measured move, and that is your target. Well, what happened yesterday, and this has kind of already been, this is already broken, but we had a retracement. So if that's your entry, your stop loss is technically above here, but we're going to take a different tact. We're going to take, I can't make our stop loss where we're at right now. That's funny. There we go. Okay, so let's say our entries here. Our stop loss right now would be above these highs from yesterday, which is about 5%. And your target, again with the measured move, let's do the 75%. That's 50. That's 75%. So that's a 22% gain for a 4 risk-reward ratio on a larger head and shoulder. So if you want to give this a little bit more room, we can go to this prior high. That's fine. That takes it down to 3.38. But the thing is, we've already retraced this. This is actually pretty decent because look at this volume getting us up here. It's massive, especially compared to most of the other candles that we've had. So this has already had the push up. I think this is a pretty good risk reward trade. So your entry is pretty much right now, and your target is the 027 level. Your stop is the 037 level. I think this is a pretty good trade on Kaspa, one that's showing topping signals. We had a retracement. This was the push through to get us bullish again. It didn't happen, and then now we're trying to roll over. I think this is a pretty decent trade. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. If you're nervous about it but are still interested, you can take a smaller position size. That's how you deal with nerves in the market. You basically sell to the trading point, as they say, and or sell to the sleeping point, as they say. And so that's kind of what's going on here with MEXC. I'm sorry, Kaspa. This is on MEXC. You can't trade this everywhere. You're going to have to maybe hunt for this Kaspa coin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your TA tip of the day today is trading with the market cycle. And that's also generally the theme to the day. My TA tips of the day will usually go with kind of the theme for the day. Even though we had the bullish pop in BTC, the general market cycle is still pushing to the downside, unfortunately. And so you have to stay with that. So even while we're taking these little pops for bullish trades, as the cycle remains bearish, you have to stay with that, okay? So just like we did with pretty much every trade today. BTC, a little bit of a bullish trade maybe, but generally we're short. Same with BNB. All right, and we did that yesterday, not even knowing this pop was going to occur. We had a bullish trade in a bearish market. It popped. It pretty much worked out, and there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me today on Altcoin Buzz Trading. Hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment leave a comment below about what you'd like to see in the upcoming videos, and I will wrap that into them. Thank you very much. Have a great day.